Hello, hello.
What up?
Hello.
What's up? Welcome to another Bobby's Cryptid Corner. Happy Tuesday, fellas.
Yes.
We're sans Jamie tonight.
We are.
We're only three corners tonight.
Yeah, how did last week go? Last week you guys were without me. Now we're without Jamie. The next time we'll all be together, reunited.
That was a mind melter last week.
It was. Yes, it was.
Really?
Yeah, way
Werewolves of all
deeper
things.
Way deeper than we thought.
Mm-hmm.
I'm jealous.
I learned so much from Tony last week.
We always learned from Tony.
I
Opened
tried.
my mind.
Tony, I'm glad that you made it, man. You scared me. Tony's over here fighting tornadoes.
It got rough. It got real rough.
Oh my God.
Did you
It's
see
like,
it
hey.
outside?
So it was south of town, not southwest. We'll probably know more tomorrow about the track and everything and how close it came to town.
Have you been through one of those, like, really close by?
I've been through hurricanes,
Yikes.
Those are not
but
fun.
those are fun. But tornadoes
Man,
are a lot more scary.
Does that
than
just
hurricanes.
happen out of nowhere? You're just like, oh, there's a tornado that came out of nowhere. Like, what?
Yeah, like this storm came out of absolutely nowhere, and I was literally on the porch, and I was just like, it's getting kind of dark, and then I got the weather alert, and then the tornado warning started blowing up my phone, and I was like, oh God.
That gives
Stand in
me
a
like
bathtub.
the creeps. I was like, you're freaking me out. I've never been in any severe weather situation in my life, obviously in California, but I have had dreams of tornadoes, and they always freak me out. I've had a lot of tornado dreams.
I think I'd rather deal with a tornado or a hurricane or severe thunderstorm than the earth moving underneath me.
Mm-hmm. I don't
It's
know.
just like a little dance
Just
party.
a little weird.
I think the foundation,
Just shaking things up.
the foundation damage on the property definitely scares me more than a little flooding from time to time.
Hey, unless it takes your whole ass house. Bye.
Yeah,
Bye.
that's true.
I mean, I haven't even been in a bad earthquake. I've had maybe like little shakes, and that's it. Maybe less than 5 times in my life. So, but that's just how it goes. Everyone has their own things that they're used to. So, anywho, really quick before we get started, I just really want to say hello to Renee Cruz and Bobby Broadway. You guys were here way before the show even started. We love that. And Enzo, of course, he knows what you guys are feeling out there with the tornado stuff. He sent me some crazy stuff before. I'm just like, you better have some Xanax with you at home. Hides in long grass, hello. So yeah, today we're gonna talk about the Rake.
A bit of a newer one. I don't know if we'd go so far as to call it a cryptid. But one thing I noticed right off the bat, and I always was under the impression that the Rake was kind of an old school folklore-y, like many centuries long. And there are some accounts of similar Rake-like experiences. However, the phenomenon itself really got its legs at the beginning of the 21st century that we're in right now.
Yeah.
I feel like we're on the 29th.
Early Reddit, internet, 4chan kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I wanted to add that kind of as like a disclaimer that this is almost like 2 different factor sci-fis in a way, because you have a camp of people that believe how the story is told with, that it was created. That this was obviously like fictional. And then you have another group of people that are like, no, it is a real thing. And then this fictional thing came later. So if you were to look this up right now, the Rake. Speaking of which, oops. That is our drinking word.
That is our word
of the day. So, that
Sick.
little sexy bastard. So if you were to look this up right now, it's those like 4 things that you're probably going to come across. So like, we're not stupid. We're not saying that this is like an absolute cryptid. This is kind of like, we can obviously decide if we think this is a legitimate cryptid and then factor sci-fi that, or if we think that this is just 100% fabricated sci-fi fandom
And
More.
we've said from the beginning that Bobby's Cryptid Corner is about cryptids and cryptid adjacent creatures. So I don't think we need to get hung up on the semantics with whether or not. But
Right.
I would go so far as to say maybe it is a cryptid, isn't a cryptid.
Initially, like, my first introduction to the Rake was kind of the creepypasta kind of thing. Like, I was real big into creepypasta and reading the stories, and I was like, these are so good. I love these little horror stories that they have on here. And then the Rake came out, and then like you started seeing like a lot of videos of the Rake, and some of them are kind of convincing. You're kind of like, whoa, what is that? And I don't know if it's like they're calling a different cryptid the Rake because it kind of has qualities of a different cryptid.
Absolutely.
And some of them are just blatant fakes, like guy in a suit, scared, like a setup video.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, one thing you have to keep in mind, especially with this contemporary ones, is like a big portion of internet traffic in the economy of the internet, if you will, runs off of clickbait. So if there's some sort of phenomenon out there, or someone claiming to be some or have some experience, some phenomenon or some sort of kind of organic 4chan or Reddit thread about some monster, whether they willed it into existence or not, there are going to be hucksters out there that want to more or less exploit those types of things to drive traffic, to get people to click on links and all that kind of stuff. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And one thing I've noticed is like we do have some historical accounts of the Rake or similar creatures like the Rake, but it kind of falls into that whole like shadow people, Hat Man,
absolutely,
sleep paralysis monsters, the old hag. And I was going to ask you guys, is the Rake pre or post Slender Man?
Oh shit!
Oh, I think it's post.
Okay. What? No. Okay.
Is it
so
pre?
Okay, so this is so like premature explosiveness right now. Yeah, because like I mean it comes up, but I don't know about the accurate timeline. I would like to say that the Slender Man would be before the Rake, only because of what will come in our slideshow here, that it was the Slender Man that gave the Rake his power. That's the only reason why I think maybe it would be before. However, that's kind of not like a solid thing, of course, especially when it comes to internet stories and things that are kind of purely sprung from internet conversations and stuff. So we can't really say for sure.
It's hard to like navigate and decipher the timeline.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I do think it's funny that you guys like this SCP stuff and the creepy pastas, because I actually don't. It confuses me. I like to think of things as being real. And like knowing that it's not. Knowing that it's not, I'm like, but then again, we'll get back to our forever ongoing conversation of whether or not, when we all believe in something, if we manifest that. So that's kind of where I think it'll always have a place for that purpose.
Yeah, but I think what we're seeing in a lot of the things that come up, especially like you brought up Slender Man, is you're seeing you're seeing real-time urban stories created. So, like, if we went back, like, 200 years or whatever, and we're talking about Bigfoot, we would be like, do I really believe that there's this thing out here? Like, we're doing it real-time now. This is a story. This is a mythology that is being created now. Mm-hmm. So,
but that's my art. I think how I put together this kind of presentation here is by timeline. Not necessarily the timeline that we know things go, so we're not jumping around. I'm starting from the very first date where there's alleged or apparent documentation.
Possible.
And then I think the argument there is, was it actually later, which is, like you're saying, Tony, a current thing now that's currently being created, or is it kind of taking from things in the past? So that's like a really big part of this conversation, and I think will weigh really heavy when we decide if we think that this is a fact or sci-fi.
Absolutely.
So what are we talking about here, this creepy little bro? Creepy bro.
Creepy bro.
Obviously, he is a humanoid figure. He is gray and pale skin. That always spikes people's interest when they want to compare any type of strange cryptid to an alien. That's always their first thing. Absolutely hairless, also like the grays if you want. Kind of this very deep, never-ending, glowing eyes. It can be black, and in other cases it's green, or people have portrayed it as being red, but I think overall it's just like a glowing blackness.
Like a void of eyes.
Yeah.
Void.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Either like 6 feet and over, crawling, like walking on all fours or crouching around. And the hands are this weird rake-like sharp-ass claws, which is where it gets his little name, the Rake. If only... So he's in suburban areas, but it's interesting. I mean, you would think that some people would make friends with this creature. If he's in suburban areas, they like to pay people to clean up their lawns. If, we're in the fall, he could obviously be of some use with his little rake-like claws and clean up the front property of all these houses.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there. Absolutely.
But I think one of the things is like they eat people. Isn't that like one of the...
They feed off people.
Right.
Feed, yes. So they, obviously, it's like they lurk on people, they stalk them. If you make eye contact with the Rake, you are considered as marked, and you become their prey.
And isn't it more or less a like psychological or emotional feeding, not necessarily
absolutely.
Like an actual...
Yeah.
Yes, but that happens through dreams. So, Bobby, like you mentioned earlier, sleep paralysis. That's what it reminds me of. So it's like this happens, then it's activating these reoccurring dreams where the Rake is sitting on the edge of your bed, just kind of freaking the hell out of you. And in some occasions, either just it's so reoccurring that you become emotionally drained, or in that weird state of your nightmare, he's able to like enter you. And then there's these crazy stories. Well, there's these crazy stories of like then when he's so attached to you because your sanity is being drained by this creature that he's able to then open up his mouth and then like pour some nasty shit in your mouth till it slowly, like till you slowly die. And then you've basically become a host, and then your body's going to drop off and then a new Rake is born. Like that's how they're like propagating.
Wow.
Yeah, but does that not sound like sleep paralysis?
I mean,
It
I don't
does.
know about... I mean, it does, but that's a pretty intense sleep paralysis episode, I would think.
Like
I would disagree.
like right now, like what we're describing, it kind of has a lot of like Wendigo vibes to it.
Skinwalkers.
Yes. Which is why I kind of said like this is kind of like a rehashing of old mythological stories about creatures like cryptids, like things. Like it's a
one of
modern
those. It's
take.
one of those ones that I consider it like a monster of the void. Like I don't really, and I don't want to get too far into fact or sci-fi, but like it's not necessarily. And we will get into physical encounters in the woods and eyewitness accounts and stuff. But to me, as far as the sleep paralysis type stuff goes, or like these SCP-957s or shadow people or whatever, those are the ones that live between reality and they live in the veil. They don't live on the other side of the veil. They live in the veil.
In it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to pinpoint like a physical conscious manifestation of something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I feel you on that. But I think that's what happens with a lot of sleep paralysis creatures. You know, like you said, the hag?
The old hag.
The old hag.
The old hag was the first thing I came up when I had my first, what I thought was sleep paralysis. And I was like, that's not what happened. But I have had experiences like that. But I think that, you know, a lot of times people say that happens to you when you're like doing what you need to do. Maybe you're raising your frequency or you're becoming more conscious, more aware of things. And then these sort of lower vibrational entities that are stuck between these realms maybe don't want you to go there. They need energy to survive. So then they can then attach themselves to you. And what better time to do it when you're dreaming, when you're sleeping.
Or they need your acknowledgement to even exist in the first place.
Right.
Like,
so if they can wake you up, you look at them and you're like, "Oh God," and then they're like, "I'm scared."
I'm gonna butcher the explanation, but I'm gonna do my best. With sleep paralysis, one of the things is like, okay, so you're in that state between being asleep and being awake. It was like, what is it? Your brain's awake. Yeah, your brain's awake, but your body's asleep, or something like that.
Yeah.
Right? So apparently, what happens in those states is like, if you hear something like a car drive by, like your brain's gonna like in real life outside your window, or you hear some noise like the AC kicks on, your brain's gonna try to like scramble that to make the most sense with your body being asleep. Or if you see like a changing of the light in the room, or whatever, your brain's gonna try to make sense of that, but it's not fully you know, it's not for lack of a better word, fully awake to or aware to really interpret the actual physical world. So it's just doing its best to make sense of what's happening at the moment. And yeah, the scariest part, of course, is not being able to move while all these horrifying things are happening to you.
Yeah.
Right. Like your brain's just going wild. I think it's interesting, though, that with sleep paralysis, there's never anything positive. It's never like, oh, I had sleep paralysis, I heard this noise, and I thought it was my birthday, and people are coming with my birthday cake to, like, feed me in bed. It's always like, there's a demon in the corner of my room, and he's trying to suck my soul. I think that's like, a really interesting...
buxom Japanese schoolgirls or something like that.
I know, right? It's never anything.
You and your buxom.
It's a great word.
Yeah. And I think I would like to say, because I know that Marius was saying in here that he has had sleep paralysis. Mm-hmm. If sleep paralysis tends to be kind of a weird thing that happens in between your journey to astral projecting. So instead of you becoming so aware in that dream state and being able to separate but still dream, you're separating, but then you're waking up. And then your body is stuck paralyzed because obviously our body needs to put us in this type of stasis, because if not, then whatever dreams we had, we would be acting out. We'd be like running in the streets and throwing ourselves off cliffs and stuff.
Which does happen.
So, yeah, absolutely. And that's equally scary.
Don't take Ambien and get on Amazon.com or drive your car.
I have done some crazy shit on Ambien. I'm not going to lie. I swear to God. I went through a portal. I hung out with little children. I mean, I can't tell you how many things, weird things I've done.
On Ambien.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is that I used to live, so I used to live in Florida. I moved back to California, and I used to take them in Florida. So when I moved here back to California, my friend would like buy me random gifts, and then in the pockets of like whatever she was buying me, she would just stuff all the Ambien in it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was like, damn, I don't think that would fly anymore.
No.
But it was strictly for trip purposes only. It was not actually to get a good night's sleep. But to me, this sounds a whole lot like sleep paralysis.
In
like
this
a lot.
scenario.
Yeah,
like sucking your energy. You're in a sleep. You wake up. Also, ghosts seem to do that a lot too. People wake up all the time. I mean, I can't tell you how many ghost stories I've heard where people wake up and there's a ghost or something sitting at the edge of their bed just staring at them. So could that be legitimate, or is that just an attribute that other paranormal things are doing that whatever group that made this up took?
Or it's almost like if you're in like kind of a sleep paralysis state, but you're also in like having a nightmare, you're more likely to see something more scary. Or like if you're having a regular dream, maybe your sleep paralysis will manifest like a non-threatening little ghost girl at the end of your bed or something like that. Like the whole spectrum.
That never happens.
Oh, it does. It does.
I'm a firm believer that like sleep paralysis is.
Well, if we want to attribute ghost sightings in the middle of the night to some sort of sleep paralysis, not all of those are like horrifying. Like say a old hag or a what are we doing? The rake monster or something like that.
Yeah. The poor Rake. So we're going in order now. So allegedly. There are writings and journals in the 12th century. So the very first one is dated from a mariner's log in 1691. Crazy. He came to me in my sleep. From the foot of my bed, I felt a sensation. He took everything. We must return to England. We shall not return here again at the request of the Rake. What's interesting about this was that like a feeling that he got, because I've never heard in any of the other encounters that the Rake actually speaks.
I've never heard of it speaking before.
And he used the term the Rake.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He did, yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
That's got like little Freddy Krueger knife hands going on there.
He does. So like what I really want to do for Halloween, you guys let me know if you're into this, because Jamie and I always love to do like Halloween things. If it's, we call it, spooky season. We try to do things that are somewhat related to being spooky. I would love to pin some of these creepy pastas that are kind of in the line of maybe something real or something cryptid and put them against each other. Like we did a Demons vs. Aliens episode. I would love to put like the Rake. Yeah, like just compare their attributes, what they do, if they were against each other, like maybe what does one have over the other? Yeah, are they the same? Are they different? And if they're different, who would kind of trump the other?
Gotcha.
As far as like a fucking battle against humanity. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
So 1691, if this was a real journal that they found, that is crazy. That is insane in the membrane.
Cray.
Cray.
Insane in the brain. So the second one, timeline wise, is a Spanish translated journal in the 1800s, and 3 times he says, I have experienced the greatest terror. And he says that 3 times. No idea. I see his eyes when I close mine. They are hollow, black. They saw me and pierced me. His wet hand, I will not sleep. His voice, and then everything else in the writing is unintelligible.
Scribble.
This reeks of sleep paralysis to me, I'm going to be honest.
Right. So that's another thing, is I don't really see the connection, because at least the first one said Rake. This one doesn't say anything. This sounds to me like a sleep paralysis for sure.
I mean, yeah, it could be. He didn't really even describe what we know a Rake to look like, other than
right.
And,
so, and it really actually doesn't, because they're
black eyes, maybe.
Yeah, but the black eyes are kind of counterintuitive, because the Rake has these glowing eyes, that glowing, piercing eyes, and this is the exact opposite.
Dare I say this sounds like a Gray encounter?
It does.
Oh, it does.
And I think a lot of these have a lot of similarities to Grays.
Right.
That pic reminds me of my grandma. What?
Oh boy.
She's a yeller.
Keep her away from me, my friend.
She crawls around in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's a good that's a good point. Totally grayish. Absolutely. I don't
This
see
show
why not.
is 20% research, 80% speculation for any new listeners out there. What up, dude?
You know what?
My flock is everywhere. Mario's Taka. Toddy Waba. That's us. Enzo's here. Bobby Broadway. All right.
Hey, I did a lot. I spent a lot of time on this, so at least I have what we have. Okay.
No, I'm not judging at all. I'm just saying we're gonna throw shit at the wall. It doesn't mean we know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everything in
Always.
the slideshow is fully verified from internet research, though.
You know what? It sounds so bad when you say that, but at this point, like the internet is almost has the information on the internet is almost, when you find the truth in it, more vast than older books that we used to have. You know, we used to compare books as being information, and now these books are kind of out of date. They need to be rewritten from things that we found, and now all that new information is online. But I can't help but think that it sounds like shit when you're like, well, I learned this from the internet.
Yeah.
I learned this from Wikipedia, and I'm pretty sure
it's pretty legit. This is the explanation.
Monster Wiki is the gold standard of cryptid.
It definitely is.
So the next one is an alleged suicide note dated 1964.
Yikes.
And the note states, as I prepare to take my life, I feel it necessary assuage my guilt.
Assuage.
I think it's a sausage. I think it's necessary to sausage any guilt or pain.
We're all going to hell.
I have
guilt in my day.
Introduced through the act. It is not the fault of anyone other than him. For once I woke and felt his presence, and once I awoke and saw his form. Once again I awoke and heard his voice, and looked into his eyes. I cannot sleep without fear of what I might next awake to experience. I cannot ever wake. Goodbye. So this person had killed themselves, but then in the box where their house is, in this wooden box, are these two empty envelopes, but they're addressed to William Rose, whoever that person is. I feel for them. And in this loose letter that wasn't in the envelope, it says, "Dearest Lily, I have prayed for you. He spoke your name."
Yeah, I feel like there is a running motif of like a tortured soul, like a human that's just going through some shit. In this case, someone that's suicidal. I feel like there's a lot of accounts of like them attributing that to some sort of like actual demon entity, or like, you know, Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven or whatever, like something stalking them or something like always around the corner and tormenting them in some way. Really, it's just kind of an emotional, like almost an emotional description of like a manifestation of their emotional state or something like that.
Yeah.
Any hoozle.
I mean, any hoozle indeed, but like poor Lenny. I mean, that sucks.
Because you look at like poltergeist activity. It's often attributed to like adolescent young girls that are like going through some crazy shit, and like all the energy in their their transitional time of life for whatever reason makes all this crazy activity. I'm trying to sound not weird or creepy when I'm describing.
No, that's true. That's true. Absolutely. Like with demonic possession, it always happens to be with females that are in their becoming of age, becoming a woman, period. It's the hormones, the ovaries start to ovulate, the eggs are moving, they're dropping, the blood is circulating, it's all coming down to center person. Yeah, but if you think about it though, it's because they're in this term of being able to produce life. Life is always the number one thing that lower entities are after. They want the energy of it all. So when you're first entering that, Oh my Lord, have mercy! You have lots of shit going on.
And kind of sort of in that on that same note, this is the Rake and things like this. They almost take that that characteristic we always talk about with things like vampires is like you almost have to invite it in. Like it has to have some sort of like venue or vehicle of intent or emotional like leeching onto something in the real world to actually appear or
something to bring foundation,
yes.
Right, like a physicality.
Yeah.
So that poor person. This is what this sexy man looks like.
Such a great
yeah. So now we're coming more into present time in 2003, where there was supposedly a bunch of reported sightings that hit the world, and in these specifically in the northeastern United States and some also in Idaho. And it grabbed a lot of local media attention. And because of that, there was a media blackout, and then everything disappeared. All the documents, all the previous documentation was wiped away.
Now that is peculiar.
That is very peculiar. So this was one of the videos.
This just looks like a tool video.
Me of? Is anybody aware of the Russian sleep deprive test?
Yeah.
The study that they did, it sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, where
like, I don't know about
like, people sleep for like a week straight or 2 weeks straight or whatever it was, and like it went really bad. Supposedly.
That's fucked up.
Like there's a picture circulating of one of the survivors, and they look just like this. They have this pale skin, their lips are gone, their teeth are showing, and
I mean, crystal meth's a hell of a drug too. It pretty much has the same effect. You're in Kansas, you know what I'm talking about. What's up?
Yeah, it's all
what? Oh,
it's all John Cougar Mellencamp and crystal meth.
Yeah.
So this is one of the most famous screenshots of the Rake drink. It's really hard for me to get over and do this between my two screens.
Just keep going. I'll remind everyone.
So this is definitely the most famous and well-known video little snapshot of the Rake, and this is apparently kind of what sparked a bunch of attention.
Mm-hmm. Do we have any idea what the origin of that picture is?
No fucking idea, to be honest with you.
It showed up on the internet one day, and it was with that news blackout.
Shwabam. Yeah.
Shabam, here it is.
Shabam. So then, like, in 2005, it really hit 4chan, and there was this person that was like, hey, let's create a new fucking monster, and then it went fucking viral, and they thought of a bunch of different names. It was going to be Operation Crawler, but there was a lot of details in what this creature would do, and it pretty much describes what the Rake is.
Mm-hmm.
Drake, tall, thin, creepy, grayish to no skin. The only thing that I saw that was very particularly different than the other accounts, oh look, I messed up the spelling, was that this creature is supposed to have 3 eyes, which I don't see at all in any of these pictures. It just looks like 2 really weird hollowed out eyeballs, even in that other picture/video that is supposed to be a legitimate Rake, and that this creature is kind of solely in suburban areas and just waits for you to leave, tries to get in your home. So he's like stalking your house in suburban areas, waits for you to leave to get into your house, to scare you when you're in your sleep, and then just sit there and put his little spell into you, basically, that gets you like hooked onto him.
I know exactly.
Yes and no, makes sense. But so then at that point is when he goes from no facial features until when you're at that point where he can take over you. And then it's like this giant mouth opens and exposes all the different rows of teeth that are extremely bright, and he just devours your ass.
That one's very phallic looking, I must say.
Yeah, look at those muscles.
I don't know. Yeah, well, like if he closed that mouth, it would just look like a bodybuilding,
like a white supremacist
boner. Maybe. Yes, white supremacist.
What?
I mean, he looks white and he's bald.
Bald white people
like
are godless racists.
You know what I meant? I take it back.
That's the two things. If you are white and bald.
Okay.
I know I take it back. You know what? It's because I'm watching this really stupid show right now on Netflix about like basically internet crimes. And the one that I just watched before I came over here was about a girl that was in a white supremacist group.
Was it about Bobby's Cryptid Corner?
So then I was just thinking like, oh, skinheads. It's not an accurate statement. It just came to me.
Right on.
I added a cute little third eye here because I'm like, that sounds almost nothing like the other previous stories and the stories after that people say. So that's what.
That eye?
Absolutely. So
Okay.
I added the other one too. Look at that. That's not natural. What is that?
Oh,
No one knows what that is.
You could have
You did that? Ow! So that kind of raises the question for me. Could that be the biggest difference between something that is completely fabricated and something that is legitimate? Because the details from what this group in 4chan was trying to create, that they obviously had also named the Rake drink, is not necessarily this creature. Like, look at how different these two are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Perhaps if there's enough similarities, you can call upon an existing entity or something.
Possibly. So it's really 2016 where like shit kind of hit the fan, where 4chan really blew up. They continued to change, add, alter the appearance of what the Rake drink would look like. And because of that, it then, of course, leaked into Reddit. But it went to LiveJournal, it went to Tumblr, and then, of course, Reddit users really spread that everywhere. I think they called it, what is the word? It's like a pasta creature, I want to say.
A pasta creature?
Something like that. I'm probably getting the name wrong, but it's like when it's like a fictional character that they make up. Like a creepy pasta, but then it is spread into all these other different forms.
Pasta Pal.
Pasta Pal.
Pasta Pal?
You got to collect them all.
Yeah.
Is it like
It's
Pokemon
a
Go?
alien.
We're going to make t-shirts that say Pasta Pal.
It's a pasta. What's your religion? I'm a pastapalian.
It's a Pastafarian.
So this, like, it took off to the point where people till this day are dropping stories and encounters. And this is what makes the Rake drink, again, a official creepypasta character. 26, baby. So...
I mean, it almost goes back to the whole life imitating art, art imitating life, or like, is the media a reflection of society, or is society a reflection of media? In the case of the internet, it's like, all right, we're constantly feeding this information, whether it be fictional, non-fictional, various worldviews, interpretations, all going into this like other cloud realm of electronic servers and signals and shit. And ideas pushed into that network can manifest, or movements or whatever can manifest in the real world. And I think there's something to that. Like, we're feeding the monsters of the internet in this fictional realm or this cyber realm, and then perhaps in the same way an idea can manifest from the real world into the internet out the other side, in the other part of the world, perhaps the same can be said about cryptid creatures. Does that make
Terry
sense?
Brown just became a mender. Thank you,
All right, Terry.
Terry. Yes, it makes absolute sense. And I think that's the question here is like, I don't believe that all of these users on all these different forums knew that they created a fictional character. And so it's like, did they either completely make up stories until someone read it and then they really believed it and they manifested it?
What's like the bird? Is it the bird lady from Reddit? Excuse me.
The bird lady?
That really creepy. It looks kind of like a Japanese woman with like big smile or teeth or something, and like I don't know.
Oh, why does that look? Why do I have a visual in my head from that?
Yeah. It like came and went. I don't know. I just thought of it because it's that same kind of thing. I forgot what it's called. The Momo. Look up the Momo.
The Momo. Yeah. You look up the Momo.
Oh, yeah. That was that creepy YouTube thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a challenge, but apparently it was a big hoax.
Right.
But
I thought that was the Poughkeepsie tapes was the same one that did the creepy smile face. Are we talking about different things?
And there's like that whole there's all kinds of different like weird challenges, and it's all related to this kind of stuff, and kind of like what I was just saying. But I just don't want to see the Momo in real life. I'll tell you that much.
Okay, wait. Is it MOE?
No, MO.
Momo.
MO. Okay, because of course when I said MO, I mean I got obviously Mo from The Simpsons, but then a whole bunch of strange Japanese anime character.
The same like Momo lady.
I'm like,
yeah.
Oh,
and then look
Lord.
at images. Do you remember this thing?
Oh yeah, I remember. I know what you're talking about.
Ah, put it away.
Look at that.
I don't know why I got Japanese vibes, but it's creepy.
I mean, it reminds me of Coraline, the Disney movies.
Well, Disney's
creepy, or is that Pixar? I don't remember.
But I mean, kind of like, is this a case of people willing something into existence?
Right. I mean, that's ultimately the question. Is like, yes, it's fun to like, okay, let's get on a subreddit or a 4chan, whatever, and we're going to create a monster. We're going to collectively come together as a group and describe this monster. And then it takes off into the ether of the internet, and then somehow it can fill some sort of voids, whether it be in real life in sleep paralysis, or like what we're about to get to, these weird creatures that we see in the woods and apparently have documentations of. I'm assuming we're going to look at those here in a second. So, don't
assume.
Okay. Hyperstition is what Keel would call it.
Yes. It's
Hyperstition.
I find this such a fascinating thing because I feel like we're experiencing the creation of a cryptid in real time, and it's manifesting in a physical form. And
I mean, and think about stuff like the Slender Man. It's like, does the Slender Man like physically exist? No, but the implications.
How do you know?
The implications of its evil existence certainly resulted in real world consequences, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of the nature of some entities. It's like, it doesn't have to be. It can be like a completely made up by the collective for the evil or actions of said entity to actually take place. It doesn't have to be something that you can physically see or touch or you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say?
Abso-freaking-literally, lad.
I didn't smoke
so that
for this episode. Sorry.
Why? So yeah, a lot of these stories are that the Slender Man gave the Rake drink. I have to get more drink.
Rake.
Bobby doesn't even drink.
I'm almost out.
He's out.
No, I got some more. Hold on.
Ah.
That's that thing looks very Pan's Labyrinthy.
Oh yeah,
So-
Yeah. The Mitch McConnell monster.
This is from
That
like
thing
a
looks like Mitch
movie.
McConnell.
This is like from a movie,
okay.
The Slender Man, but it's supposed to portray the Slender Man.
I remember that movie had a huge controversy behind it.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to watch it, honestly.
The documentary, or is there actual horror?
No, the actual movie released by Sony.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah.
Why?
Just because of this.
What happened?
Yeah, because of what actually happened. Yeah.
Yeah. The families got involved, and they were really mad.
They're like, this is a bit tasteless.
Yeah.
You know what? I hate that I am that person that disagrees with things like that. Like, I never think it's too soon.
No, I don't either.
You know what I mean? I think...
And
does that lack a certain thing from me? I don't know. I just feel like it's never too soon. If anything, it's like, make it relevant. Do it now. Show how creepy it is. And that's why people believed it and did what they did. Mm-hmm. Rather than let time go by, people forget the story. They don't understand the significance. It's like, no, do it now.
But are you feeding it to re-manifest? Like, are you feeding the phenomenon when you do those kind of things?
Right. I get,
more or less celebrate the existence of it or how it's created in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I don't, I'm not like, whatever. Make a horror movie about a Slender Man. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's people who thought that Schindler's List was too soon.
Yeah, I mean, we can't pander to everyone's sensitivities. Am I right? Right. And I'll go on the record. I'm one of these people. Like, I do not like some of the greatest geniuses, artists in the world were into some really weird, terrible shit. That doesn't mean we should stop. Like, I mean, that's why they were such geniuses. A lot of times, like, it comes from the same place, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna stop listening to Chuck Berry because he was into like shatting on. Yeah. Anyway.
Right.
As long as he's not hurting people, then he can be a shatologist for all I care.
Woody Allen made some funny fucking movies. Michael Jackson makes good music. It's like,
right. That's a weird line. It's hard to go there, But especially with things like Schindler's List, I think that you show how horrific things are for people to understand. I think that people hear things, and especially in this day and age, people are so numb. We are so acclimated to trauma situations, to horrible atrocities that nothing shocks us. Our level of being shocked just goes higher and higher and higher, and
we build a tolerance to like more and more awful things, and that's that's why Bill Gates hasn't been arrested for going to Jeffrey Epstein's island.
We rationalize a lot of things. And
well, that's not fair. Trump went there too. We can't just arrest everybody.
He never went there.
He never was there, but arrest all of them. All right,
He was on the list. All of them. Okay. Anyway, so the argument here is that the Slender Man possibly gave, the Rake need a drink. I'm gonna have to take a break here in a second. Right, or that the Rake drink again. Is just a proxy for the man.
For the Slender Man?
No, like, yes. That the
no, yes.
Our creepy-eyed figure is just a proxy for the Slender Man, which makes sense to me.
For a lot of things.
Just take the form of everything. I think that that's also something that we seem to find. Bobby's Cryptid Corner, when we start to go through all these things, are the similarities within different cryptids, monsters, different paranormal poltergeists. They have so many things in common that sometimes I think that it's humans that are just separating them, giving them names and attributes, when really it could just be one thing maybe, or one species or whatever that covers all these different ranges, just like humans are. We might all have the same 2 eyes, 2 ears, and a mouth, but we're vastly different.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it's like the same collective realm or the same entity, just interpreted in different ways depending on the person's subjective perception and the cultural archetypes we fill those voids with. Yeah, this is all very Keelian. So anyway, that looks.
And
like
if you think about it, like this is a picture of the Slender Man, and
look at his.
I mean, okay, if the Rake had drink, I don't have anything to drink.
Take the suit off.
If the Rake had a bomb
You're gonna
chiropractor,
like the way you look.
Get a chiropractor.
Men's Warehouse.
Yeah, exactly. Check out the Men's Warehouse. Get yourself
It's
a
Robert
suit.
Zimmer.
Yes.
Boom.
Do a Windsor knot. He's got a Windsor knot going on. His shoulders are a little low.
Classic black tie.
Classic black
tie. And that's what makes me want to put them in a battle, because they both have rake hands, which means like they can't open doorknobs that easily. I see these like low grade movies where they're opening doors and they're just appearing, and I'm like, did you forget what the hands are like?
They're
you
like
need to be specific.
Those ladies that grow the really long nails. You're like, how do
and
you
they
open
try
doors
to pull their
shit?
cards
They're
out
like,
of like gas pump or whatever.
yeah.
It's like you can't.
You're gonna break a nail, lady.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't do that.
You have to use your knuckles and pull it.
I'm gonna start that. I'm gonna start doing that.
You gonna do the long nails?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it for like a year and see what happens.
Do like Bobby's Cryptid Corner nails.
We'll sell gloves on the website.
This is an alleged screenshot. I really need to take a really quick break.
The problem is, go ahead. The problem is with all these images, like they're like we were pointing out to that with that famous image of the Rake from the media blackout situations. Like there's like no context at all. Like these things just appear on the internet. As far as I could tell, like granted I didn't do like super duper deep dive research, but like you'd think that it'd be like one of the first things they would say is like where this picture actually came from. It's like, like this just appeared on a forum one day and you're like, all right.
Okay, cool. That's it.
I guess
like where was it taken? You know, like what time of the year, what time of day or night or whatever.
I'm seeing some Photoshop blur effect in there too, if I'm being completely honest. But
yeah, especially in this one. I mean,
kind of looks like one of the Peanuts. I don't know. We're just biding time while
it's just an albino with alopecia.
Yeah, it's Linus. Charlie Brown's real pissed off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it is scary though. I mean it's a creepy looking little fellow there, but you know, as far as the internet, you know, fueling this and the quote unquote evidence, that's really what kind of raises my red flags as to this being some sort of like physical entity or something. But again, like we've said a million times before, like enough people believe something, maybe it does show up one day.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder, like, can you actually create something just by enough people wanting to believe in it or something, you know?
Well, like it's like you can concentrate resources of the earth, like so you can synthesize a bunch of wood and ores to make screws and nails, and like next thing you know you have like a house, right?
Yeah.
Well, who's to say you can't like synthesize and like restructure like psychological intent, or like, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be necessarily a physical construction. It can be a like ethereal or like mental one that creates something. Not necessarily something you build with your bare hands. It can be something you build with a collective minds or something like that.
Right, like a collective conscious intent. And then that kind of
manipulate the intent.
That brings up the idea of, if that is possible, what are the ethics behind being able to do that? If enough people can manifest a monster, can enough people manifest, you know, like things that aren't horrible shit?
Yes,
absolutely. I mean, that's why people do massive meditation and prayer circles.
I mean, this gets into like egregores and stuff like that at that point, because it's like the demon can be the collective intent of some network of institutions, like, I don't know, the military industrial complex is like a demon on our world that's battling against, like, I don't know, people that just want to like live their lives or whatever. Like, that's something. So like it's all like different entities and like different scales in the whole spectrum of sizes and whatnot. Anyway.
Yeah.
Dare I read this story to you?
Yes,
that
you
has
dare.
circled. It is so long and it's so small and I don't have glasses. Oh wait, Matt, wait, hold on. Pause. I don't have glasses.
You're leaving again?
No.
She's looking for her eyes.
Yeah. I just don't know which ones. Oh, okay. Well, those ones are empty, so I'll use these ones. I need to get my eyes done again.
If you guys don't know, Bree's an old lady. She needs her eyes.
I am going to be...
She's like that guy's grandma that looks like the
Rake.
The Rake from earlier.
Drink. I am going to be 32 this year. 32 for
Good
you.
Lord, you're old.
I remember.
I'm dying to know how old you are.
I'm about to turn 38.
Oh my God, you're not old. Ugh, boring. Okay.
Boring. How old should I be?
I don't know. I just thought you were old and wise.
I dress like a grader, and that's all that matters.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to try to read this to you guys. So this is from an unknown witness in 2006. But this story is probably one of the biggest that has circulated as far as the Rake drank. Okay. So in 2006, we have no idea who the fuck this is. I think it's a woman, though. I'm just assuming. Okay, anyway. 3 years ago, I had just returned from a trip from Niagara Falls with my family on the 4th of July. We were all very exhausted after a long day of driving, so my husband and I put my kids right to bed and called it a night. About 4 a.m., I woke up thinking my husband had gotten up to use the restroom. I used the moment to steal back the sheets, only to wake him in the process. I apologized and told him I thought he got out of bed. When he turned to face me, he gasped and pulled his feet up from the end of the bed so quickly his knee almost knocked me out of bed. Then he grabbed me, but said nothing. After adjusting to the dark for a half a second, I was able to see what caused the strange reaction. At the foot of the bed, sitting and facing away from us, is what appeared to be a naked man or a strange, hairless, large dog of some sort.
I always confuse those two.
I mean, like what? A large, hairless dog.
Must have been a hairless mastiff.
Right.
I know, seriously. His body position was disturbing and unnatural, as if it had been hit by a car or something. For some reason, I was not instantly frightened by it, but more concerned as to its condition. At this point, I was somewhat under the assumption that we were supposed to help him. My husband was peering over his arm and knee, tucked into the fetal position, occasionally glancing at me before returning to the creature. In a flurry of motion, the creature scrambled around the side of the bed and then crawled quickly in a flailing sort of motion right along the bed until it was less than a foot from my husband's face. The creature was completely silent for about 30 seconds, or probably closer to 5, it just seemed like a while, just looking at my husband. The creature then placed its hand on his knee and ran into the hallway, leading to my kids' room. I screamed and ran for the light switch, planning to stop him before he hurt my children. When I got to the hallway, the light from the bedroom was enough to see it crouching and hunched over, about 20 feet away. He turned around and looked directly at me, covered in blood. I flipped the switch on the wall and saw my daughter, Clara. The creature ran down the stairs while my husband and I rushed to help our daughter. She was very badly injured and spoke only once more in her short life. She said, "He is the Rake." My husband drove his car into a lake that night while rushing our daughter to the hospital. He did not survive. Being in a small town, news got around pretty quickly. The police were helpful at first, but the local newspaper took a lot of interest as well. However, the story was never published, and the local television news never followed up either. For several months, For several months, my son Justin and I stayed in a hotel near my parents' house. After we decided to return home, I began looking for answers myself. I eventually located a man in the next town over who had a similar story. We got in contact and began talking about our experiences. He knew of 2 other people in New York who had seen the creature we now refer to as the Rake. It took the 4 of us about 2 solid years of hunting on the internet and writing letters to come up with a small collection of what we believe to be accounts of the Rake. None of them gave any detail, history, or follow-up. One journal had an entry involving the creature in its first 3 pages, but never mentioned it again. A ship's log explained nothing of the encounter, saying only that they were told to leave by the Rake. That was the last entry in the log. There were, however, many instances where the creature's visit was one of a series of visits with the same person. Multiple people also mentioned being spoken to, my daughter included. This led us to wonder if the Rake had visited us. If the Rake would visit us before our last encounter. I set up a digital recorder near my bed and left it running all night, every night, for 2 weeks. I could tediously scan through the sounds of me rolling around in my bed each day before I woke up. By the end of the 2nd week, I was quite used to the occasional sound of sleep while blurring through the recording at 8 times the normal speed. This took almost an hour every day. On the first day of the 3rd week, I thought I heard something different. What I found was a shrill voice. It was the Rake. I can't listen to it long enough to even begin to describe it. I haven't let anyone listen to it. All I know is that I've heard it before, and I now believe that it spoke when it was sitting in front of my husband. I don't remember hearing anything at the time, but for some reason, the voice in the recorder immediately brings me back to that moment. The thoughts that must have gone through my daughter's head make me very upset. I have not seen the Rake since he ruined my life, but I know that he has been in my room while I slept. I know and fear that one night I'll wake up and see him staring at me. And that's it.
Spooky.
Creepy.
So yeah, what are we? Have we verified? Is this like a real? Is this a creepypasta or is this some sort of real, allegedly real account?
There's nothing to verify.
Yeah, that's just what I'm telling Tony about this whole thing. Is like every image and every story is like maybe it's a creepypasta, maybe it's not. Like this is an image that just appeared on a forum. Like there's always like weird little like random nonsense that's not verifiable.
Right.
I'm gonna say I think that's bullshit.
I mean,
what I just said or that story?
No, I feel like the story, just the way that it was written, for some reason it sits with me as bullshit.
Yeah, that's all. It's like maybe it's not, but like we don't know.
We don't know.
push it one way or the other. And if we're to assume that these are like fictional creatures, we're not fully convinced that they're real. It's like, well, that doesn't do it any favors. It's just some like random story from the internet. I read that same one as well when I was doing this research. I was just like, what is like?
That's like one of the most popular stories because it's in 2006. So, and that was like the time where it kind of, blew up. So I think people just took those first stories, the first people that started saying things as like, this is the first story. This is the first account that isn't a part of these other possibly fictional other diary writings.
I mean, but the origin of the Rake literally acknowledges that it was a fictional thing from the internet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, all right.
Well, I guess from
your husband died in a lake after fighting off a rake that attacked your daughter. I'm like,
I guess
heard about this.
Daughter dies first.
Our modern interpretation of the Rake is from, the internet, but that first story where the guy actually called it a rake from 1690 or 1610.
Totally.
Yeah. It's like
allegedly. Allegedly,
that's real. We don't know, the validity.
We don't know, but I do believe in the power of collective thought.
Oh.
What?
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 I said love.
Oh, I do believe in that again. Again. Yes. Oh, no, sorry. I was reading something else. I do think that I believe in the power of overall collective belief. I think that that's been proven over and over again. I think that's why manifesting is a thing. I think that's why the power of prayer is a thing. You have enough of people to gather in a circle and all believe the same thing, and you put that energy in there. Obviously, you you can manifest a certain type of miracle. And I can see something like this happening. I can also see that maybe there's just something a little bit strange, and then people automatically jump to this fictional character that they've heard of, the Rake.
Yeah.
And you're getting energy and you're fueling
and then they're like, oh, it's the Rake.
And again, if it was in any other different timeline, whatever they saw could be attributed to something completely different, whatever popular monster was going on at that time.
Bree's having such a hard time right now.
Bree, what are you doing over there?
Well, I spilled a glass.
Did you just throw up?
No. First, I spilled a glass all over things, and then I tried to take this sip of beer, and then I just spilled it down my shirt. So I feel like, you know what my mom would say?
No,
you're full.
Party.
You're full. But I mean,
get it? Because you can't make it in your mouth. It's full.
So it kind of has, if you think about it and you think back a couple weeks, it kind of has the same sort of features as the Hopkinsville goblins, with the long claws and the disproportionate arms and the pale skin, and like a lot of these like goblin type creatures that we see in the Appalachian Mountains and the Mammoth.
They're just like ambiguous humanoids. It's just like familiar, but not detailed enough to be like normal looking.
Right. It kind of activates that uncanny valley like switch in the brain.
Yeah, that looks like Gollum right there.
Yeah,
Nosferatu Gollum.
Now I do have like that.
I was gonna.
I mean, listen, on the video game, The Rake, that shit looks pretty cool. That is like, whoa.
Have they made an actual horror movie on The Rake?
It's called The Rake.
So there's like an actual movie on it. I gotta look that up. I want to watch it.
Do you want me to do my movie recommendation now or after Factor?
I mean, you might as well do it now.
I don't know.
Is it the Rake?
There's no. It's not the Rake. It's that's a little on the nose. This is not particularly a movie about rakes, but similar types of spindly, weird, humanoid, ethereal, void creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And hot take before I reveal what it is, it's not a great movie, but I definitely consider it the best movie based on a video game, and it's called Silent Hill.
Oh, that's a great movie.
There's absolutely a rake in there, right?
I mean, there's rake-like creatures.
Yeah, these hellscape.
It's very like Clive Barker-y without being Clive. It's fucking weird and stressful, and has some creepy crawly creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Again, in my opinion, the best video game based movie ever made, because Super Mario Brothers is not it.
You know what? I even liked the other Silent Hill. What was it? It's like Silent Hill
The second
fucking
one?
Redemption or some shit.
The second movie?
Electric Boogaloo.
Exactly. Electric Boogaloo. What's it called?
The Legend of Curly's Gold.
What?
I don't know.
I like Silent Hill. What? Really?
I never saw the second one, no.
I don't know if this is accurate, but my first thought is to say that it is the little girl maybe after in life. No, or maybe she has a connection to her, but she's like in normal, like almost like it's a normal world. I just remember her being like at the mall and shit happens. I don't know. It was a cool movie. I liked it.
You talking about the second Silent Hill? Yeah, it was good. I mean, the
nurses are the
Hill
scariest
movies,
parts.
They're the best part.
Yeah, I actually looked up to see if the rake was in Silent Hill, but there is a literal rake in the video game, like the garden tool. And I think it's a really shitty weapon or something.
You guys, you think those nurses are the best part? What?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, wait, can we look this up? I just want to know.
Oh, yes, please.
Let's pretend. I'm just going to say UFO yes or no so we don't break any weird laws. I mean.
What are we doing?
Are we looking up the Silent Hill nurses?
Yeah.
Make sure your
on Rule
safe search is
34?
on.
My what?
Safe search.
Why?
Why would Silent Hill nurses be something? Oh, it is the internet, I guess. There's like cool hentai fucking deviant art of it, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Sonic the Hedgehog fan fiction.
Oh, shit. What did I click on?
Silent Hill nurses.
I think someone has a Pinterest page that was nothing but that. But so,
yeah, of course.
Bottle's talking about these girls. They are so scary.
They are so hot. Just take the sharp shit out of their hands.
Just put a bag over the head and do your business.
I'm just curious as to how that.
Maybe you just zoom in on one of those.
Like,
are their faces all fugly?
Yes.
Yeah,
they're covered in bandages.
That's pretty upsetting. But I mean,
that's pretty upsetting.
They got it where it counts, I guess.
It's pretty upsetting.
Hell, I mean,
it's pretty upsetting.
I mean, they don't have faces, so that's definitely a turnoff.
Yeah, so that's why I don't understand why that would be like.
Go to the trio drawing there. You just passed it, like right in the middle there. Yeah, down. Where are you?
Down. Oh, it's because that's this one.
Let me see that one.
Because you like that anime stuff, huh?
No. See that? Yeah.
Perfectly fine.
I mean, they're
scary.
They're sexier than rakes. I'll tell you that much.
They definitely are.
Oh, that's true. That's true, but they do that creepy thing where they're just like there, and you have to get by them without them moving. Or sensing that you're there.
Don't make any noise, right?
You know someone's into this though. Like,
oh yes, real, right? I am. What?
Yeah, me.
So at least we know that your wives could like get in a really bad accident, get burned. You're like, it's okay, just bandage your face up.
there's a line, Bree, and you
I still like you, honey. That's what. Hey, I'm just going off of what you said to me. That's
Wear
all.
this dirty nurse outfit.
It's like
roll
I'm not
around
dressing
in the
like
ground.
the Resident Evil nurse or Silent Hill nurse again.
That's fine.
Anyway,
nurses are a thing. Nurses are a thing.
They are.
Oh yeah.
They are. I got my husband in a nurse outfit.
You got him in a nurse outfit?
I got him by being a nurse. Okay.
Oh.
It was a Halloween. Anywho.
We're all tracking now.
Oh, nurse.
We're caught up. We're caught up. We're all caught up.
We're all caught up.
This is Bobby's Horny Corner. Horny Corner.
So
What
I
kink
have.
We're going to talk about next week.
Is anyone interested in seeing some of the weird videos that are out here for this thing?
Yeah.
Good.
I don't know if we're allowed to do this.
Are they on TikTok or?
No.
We can just
TikTok.
beg for forgiveness later.
TikTok is so much safer.
It is. Oh, this is the Russian video, isn't it?
Is this Faces of
Rakes
Death?
in Russia? Now that sounds like a movie. Rakes in Russia.
It's
It's
like
just-
Russia or Eastern Germany or something.
Can I just take a second to say that I am drinking Num Num Juice? It's a hazy IPA, and I hate beer, but I'm drinking this because I think it's not bad.
I already hate it just based on the name of it.
You don't like hazy IPAs?
No, he doesn't.
I don't like anything called Num Num Juice. I'm a grown ass man.
There it is. Fucking...
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Oh, I know who this. I know whose channel this is.
Is it a homie of yours? Because I was going to ask them if they wanted.
No, it's Sir
To,
Spook. I would love to talk to him. He won't respond to my emails.
What a douche.
Well, none of them will.
That's
Really?
That's a dog.
Yeah, it's hard to get a hold of like Sir Spooks and Callan from Slapped Ham or Nuke's Top 5 or.
You just have to be a girl, I feel like.
Where's the rake in this video?
I think it's
This
the
is-
white thing moving in the background.
Yeah, that looks like another dog, to be honest with you.
Also, what's weird to me is dogs are usually super
Cognizant.
aware of any type of strange paranormal activity things. So I can't imagine that a dog would just be like jumping around in the same,
like it wouldn't
field.
care. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, for some reason, I just can't imagine that rakes would be out here in the daylight.
It kind of looked like just a person in like a white hopping around, and the dog was like, "Yeah, that fucking idiot's out there." in the
Yeah.
woods again."
Is that the Patterson Gimbal footage? Oh, wait. No, this one.
Patterson gimbal footage.
Throwing some salt in the
I mean,
wound.
this looks like fucking that movie Wreck.
Yeah.
Quarantine.
Wreck It Like Ralph?
Quarantine's a good ass movie. Those are some rake creatures in there, if I'm not mistaken. With like weird medical experiment zombies. Or
I don't know what this,
Yeah.
So this is supposed to be like the best compilation footage or something, and this is all really shitty. What?
Oh, that, yeah.
So I'll tell you this. This is the reason why I stopped doing top 5 videos on my channel, because that's what I started off doing. Is everybody does the same shit over and over, and if you look at like the top like 4 or 5 channels, that's just somebody with like the rickets.
You just
No.
it's
I just want you guys to know that it
Sarah.
vapes.
It's tiny.
I just want you guys to know that the rake vapes.
It vapes. But
Yeah,
this is
no.
so what I noticed when I was doing these top 5 videos is that everybody has the same videos and they stagger them like a week or 2 apart.
Yeah, they
And
steal
it's
from
just
each other.
Slut.
it's just a combination of the same videos from like 4 people that are just like disseminated down to everybody else, which is why I stopped doing it. I was like, I don't feel like, genuine just playing the same shit that everybody else plays.
However, I will tell you that it can be the same everywhere. Okay, wait, look, right here. Boom, smoke, and then it
Vape
pops out.
with
It
his
fucking vapes.
rickets.
He's raking the vape.
This is just somebody with.
That's a guy with a ricket. That's a guy with what do they call it?
He's got the arm
Canes?
Arm
canes. Yeah,
braces or whatever.
like Morbius.
Like the guy from There's Something About Mary.
Yes,
Oh, like when you have polio.
that.
Sure.
Except nobody has polio anymore.
Yes, they do.
Not in America.
Yes,
the
people
only
that weren't
country that
vaxxed. Polio is a great example of those that should get vaxxed.
That is a baby. That is a very white powder baby.
That is an
It just looks
infant.
like before tanning.
That's a Ford.
Yeah, I don't understand how
That's
this
a
is
Ford
like.
Cavalier, Chevy Cavalier.
Can I tell you how many views this video has? It's insane and it's so bad.
I mean, that goes back to what I was saying at the very beginning of this episode. It's like, if it's popular, if it's trending, people are going to create shit. And
So I mean, yeah,
of
look
it's
at
garbage.
this. So these dudes were just dicking off, standing around while this rake was crawling towards them, and now this dude's getting murked by a rake.
They kind of look
like-
like those stupid aliens from what's the Mel Gibson one?
Signs.
M. Night Shyamalan, yeah, Signs.
Okay, but I liked Signs.
They have little
You
little
would.
Spider-Man gas things on their wrist. It's so
You
stupid.
guys should have seen when I went to that with my parents. I was too young, so they took me to see it in the movie theater,
Did you cry?
and I was so scared. I
He
was like,
found
oh,
God
God.
again after the aliens attacked his family. That's the movie.
Yep.
No, I was like, why don't they just blow up the Earth?
Yeah, just fuck it. Blow it
I'm
up.
always team alien. I'll always be team alien. Earth.
Like water.
Oh no, we're
Instacart.
not.
We have ads now, so people not watching this live when you get ads, we're all very sorry.
Yo, I Instacart the fuck out of life. So
I live in the middle of nowhere. I couldn't Instacart coffee if I fucking wanted to.
You're at a food desert.
I'm literally where all the food is made, but we have no DoorDash. No, I had to delete all that shit.
what happened?
What happened?
What happened? Oh, is that the freeze frame? Hold on. Is that the
Yeah.
face? Oh, I see it. Okay. Head, shoulders.
Knees and
This is
toes.
more. See, this is more believable to me, and I think that movies need to do this more often. Is instead of giving us the entire creature, sometimes you just give us a little bit of something and let our imaginations take over. It's so much scarier than if you actually construct the entire creature, because then we're like, oh, that's cheesy.
But so much less convincing at the same time.
I disagree.
I mean, that's the whole thing with like horror movies is they never show you the whole monster because
Right,
they
because
want
they
your
can't.
imagination to fill in the void.
Yeah, they
Because the
can't
monster
pay
is
for the whole
inside
suit.
you.
Or you don't see Jaws until like the beginning of the third act of that movie.
Yeah,
It's just
because
like
the
always
shark
lurking.
broke down every
Because
time
it
they
didn't
tried to
work.
film it.
Yeah, I was going to say the
It
damn
was a
shark
happy
didn't work.
accident. It was a happy accident.
Yeah.
They didn't even mean for it to be genius, but it was.
I wish that,
Oh, this is the one in the field, right? This is
yeah. I wish we could
Yeah.
find the megalodon. I believe in him. I love sharks. My two favorite animals that aren't necessarily animals, but they're animals in the entire world are alligators and sharks.
my question is. I love sharks too, but my question.
But I'm
with
very
this
accustomed
is,
to alligators.
How has nobody clapped a rake? Like all these people that go exploring and everything, they're like, "Hey, we're gonna go look for this super dangerous 6 foot tall."
real. It's not real, Tony.
Oh my God,
Like I'd
Bobby.
totally clap one of these things if I saw them.
Can you explain to me what clap means? Is that like popping a
It's-
cap in someone's ass?
Yes,
Okay.
I would
Cap,
murk.
clap, got it.
I would murk one. That's
I don't
just
know.
a
I don't have a
child's
gun. I don't
game.
know.
I would
I
king
don't
of the
know.
castle that bitch.
So I would
Castle
like
doctor in this motherfucker.
I would like now to get to the meat and potatoes of this whole thing, and I feel like I already know what Bobby's gonna say.
You might be surprised, Bree.
Who wants to go first? I kind of want to go last because I don't know yet.
I'll go first.
Because you want to change the rules halfway through your
Why do people say that? Why you guys
I
are
don't
such
know.
fucking haters?
I don't know. Why do
Fucking-
people say that, Bree?
Because you're fucking haters.
This thing's fake as fuck. Sci-fi 1. Can you go lower than
No
1?
way. No way. Is it really?
Yeah.
Not even a
Yeah.
little bit?
I'm basing this on pure scientific endeavor, and I have seen absolutely nothing. If anything, the entire story lends itself to it being fake because it fucking says that it's fake. The origin of it is fake. You are not going to, and again, I know I'm kind of contradicting myself as to what I usually say of how the collective can manifest these types of things, and I think that is true to a degree, at least the intent or the actions of it. But as far as like the evidence that we've looked at tonight, I'm just like, nah, fuck this. It's bullshit.
Jesus, Lord. Lord have mercy, that's a sci-fi.
Sci-fi. Okay, so it's my turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go?
Tony, you go.
Can I guess? Okay, no, Tommy.
Okay.
Toto.
This is
Toto.
absolutely the most made-up fucking thing
Thank you.
in the history of made-up shit.
I feel like there's a but.
No, there's no but. This and like the closest you can get to a but is people using actual mythology to make up their stupid Rake monster. I think it's the dumbest thing ever.
And I want to shout out to all the people that think I'm nuts, friends and family, that are like, oh, Bobby believes in anything. They're not going to hear this, but
Right.
I just feel like I have to balance that universe out to some degree. And we're like, no, I don't. This is horse shit.
Yeah,
Bree,
this
your turn.
is an absolute zero. It's
Zero.
They literally stole shit from established mythology, made up their own monster, and it does talk, but it doesn't talk, but it's got these weird little hands and it kind of eats people, so it's a Wendigo, but it doesn't eat people because
But it's also the
alien.
old hag and it's
Yeah,
gray
it's-
and it's horse shit.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so then
horrible.
could it be an alien then?
No,
it's Bukkake.
it's not.
Okay.
It's completely made up.
Did you say it's bukkake?
Yeah. I said that at work one time. I meant to say that's malarkey, and I said it in front of the whole. I was like, "Oh, that's bukkake." I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yo.
I meant malarkey. I like to say
Bukkake is a
bukkake.
family favorite word of mine.
I like to
we
say
love
it
to
in,
say that.
in replace of like nonsense. Oh, that's like bollocks or.
That's what I thought it was. That's what I
That's a
thought it
bunch
was.
We should do
Yeah.
factor bukkake.
I thought that's what it was. My sister used to say
Bukkake.
bukkake all the time. My dad would just
It's a
like
fun word.
cringe till we're at a restaurant. We said bukkake, and then he finally told us what it meant. And we were like, "Oh, Lord.
Anyone that knows what it means.
Your
would find
dad's
that funny.
Japanese, right?
no."
Is it
Your dad's a
mom?
bukkake star, right?
Or your grandma?
No one in my
Any
family
fucking
is
ways.
Japanese.
Whatever.
I am half Mexican and half white, and my dad, who is my stepdad, is, I guess,
Japanese.
Eastern European. He's Jewish,
He's
so
European.
I think it's Eastern European,
Anyways.
Polish and stuff.
Polak.
Polak. So like
Definitely.
I feel like I'm closer to a middle bitch. I don't know.
I want to
I
know
take it back.
how you came.
I take
to
it back.
this
Maybe.
conclusion. No, don't take it back.
We need you to explain yourself.
You
I'm-
own what you just said.
Like, see, well, like, if you just meditate really hard and, like, you know, you can astral project them into existence if you, like, rub the crystals the right way. Who's to say, man? It's all the eye of the beholder.
Exactly.
She's like lighting an incense. Like, okay.
No, listen, that's the this is why I invented this term middle bitch, because even though I don't think things sound legitimate, I can always break it down to but what ifs. Like the possibilities are so wide, and what if certain people manifested this creepy character Oh no! You know what? No, they
Have you
didn't.
ever
No,
given
don't
anything a
walk
side
back
eye?
from it now.
They didn't. I'm gonna walk back in shame.
No, you're right between sci-fi and a middle bitch. So
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3.
you're a sci bitch.
Yeah. He is.
You're a 3.
He doesn't want to admit it.
That's fine. Well, I think that a 3 is a good number to based on what you just said and how you're leaning more towards middle bitch.
Just because,
Yeah, I mean,
there's, I don't know. There's.
I
What if
wanna
those
believe.
papers are true? What if the papers are true? Then we have documentation dating back to the 1600s.
Yeah,
I got to be honest with you guys. Ever since we started doing this, and it kind of forced me to look into other cryptid creatures beyond just Bigfoots. I over the last 6 months or so, I am far more skeptical about all of this shit, which is interesting because I thought it might have the opposite reaction.
That is
Especially
funny
after
too.
Tony's explanation of werewolves, I was like, "Holy shit, you're right." It's just people attributing wolves to like wolves showing up when people are dying. It's a anyway.
Maybe this did the opposite for me because I still am very honest when I say that I don't 100% believe in Bigfoot. And he sits closer to fact, but not yet. So maybe this has done the opposite effect for me. Maybe it's like exploring these different things from my perspective challenges me to put my ultimate belief to the test, which is that anything is possible in this world. And sometimes we have to rely on accounts and documentation. And sometimes those accounts and documentation is trash. But it doesn't necessarily mean that what sits at the feet and the foundation of the story isn't true.
Sure. Hey,
Right.
we're gonna get back to the we're gonna get out of the ethereal realm next week, I think.
Are we gonna do what we talked about?
We will do that eventually. I want to do a big dive on that, so I don't want to spoil that. But I think next week
I don't know what you guys are talking about because I
We'll
missed
talk-
last
No,
week,
we
so
have a
I'm
private-
so
no, this is a-
confused.
we have
Private
we have a
text.
bro chat.
Yeah, we do.
Zana of Abkhazia,
Ooh.
which is a kind of genetic ape woman anomaly from Russia, I believe. Stay
You guys
tuned
have
to
a
find-
private dudes chat?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's just me and him over.
That is
text
so
message.
fucking against the
Do you
rules.
want me to put you in every chat if I talk to anyone?
But if it
Hey,
pertains
Mom,
to Bobby's,
free, don't mind her. She just wants to be a part of everything.
listen, if it pertains to Bobby's Cryptid Corner, then you're breaking the rules, and we're gonna have to
Sometimes
type up
we're-
some type of
sometimes-
agreement here where I'm gonna need signatures.
Signatures.
Okay.
I gotta go. Text
I need
my
some
friend Tony.
fingerprints.
I can't stand here all night.
Yeah.
Wow.
But anyway, Zana is her name. She's she's from. It's a part of Georgia or not
Used
Georgia,
to be
the state.
Ukraine.
Yeah, somewhere around there, around that part of the world.
Hold on a second. She is from Georgia, but you used to be in the Ukraine.
I really don't want.
That's
I really
huge.
did. I was
We
really
can't
hoping,
get into that.
I was really hoping that wouldn't come up.
Sorry.
That's all, folks.
God damn it. Yo. You guys, these boys
mermaids
are
are not
putting me
real.
through it.
Rakes are not real. I gotta go.
Okay, fine. Okay. So I guess stay tuned for next week because we don't really know the type of
Geography.
danger we're going to get into. And thank you everybody for joining us today.
Thanks, everyone.
We love you.
Love you all.
Just kidding, we're not ending.